The desert Southwest, rough and rugged. The IndyCar drivers have come to Phoenix for a shootout. It'll be an all-out duel. They'll leave nothing on the track. But this is no typical shootout. This 1 mile oval is a very rough place. Tracy and Andretti will continue their duel from Australia. Andretti lost the last round, while Tracy brought home the win. An old familiar face is at the top of the points race. The old guns have experience on this tricky mile oval. But the young guns are ready to charge into battle. And the fastest guy wins the shootout. The look is live from over the Estrella Mountains at the edge of the Valley of the Sun. We're ready for the IndyCars in the Phoenix 200, presented by Pyroil. And in qualifying here, Bryan Herta yesterday, the best qualifying position he'd ever had was 7th, but he has the pole here today. More on that now as we go to the starting field and Jackaroo.
Well, Paul, it was only 8 months ago that this young man was in a hospital bed, and many people questioned whether he would ever walk again, let alone drive. But Bryan Herta teamed up with Chip Ganassi Racing for this season, along with the legendary Mo Nunn, and after some trouble on the road racing facilities, they've come with a vengeance to the oval. His first career pole, as you said. But the man directly behind him, Jacques Villeneuve, who has been so strong for Team Green, Gary Gerould. Villeneuve knows that the package that was used in qualifying is not the same one that Ganassi Racing will use in the race.
Significant story, Jack. Bryan Herta and the Newman Haas drivers, Paul Tracy, Michael Andretti, have been using this weekend in testing and qualifying a new generation Ford power plant. It's new from the block up, and it's given them great results. They've qualified in 3 of the top 5 positions, but the folks at Ford say they're not yet ready to put it into racing competition. That's still down the road. So these drivers, the 3 of them, are using the power plants that they used in Miami and Australia. One other quick wrinkle for the Newman Haas team. Right under this cover, they've got a new sculpted oval track nose, giving them more downforce, less drag. They've spent upward of $200,000 on this project. Paul?
So many stories already here at Phoenix, Arizona. In fact, this morning in warm-ups, Stefan Johansson caught the wall coming off of 4, but they're going to put his backup car in the show. He'll start in his qualified position. Yesterday in qualifying, 18 cars underneath the track record, 21 cars grouped in the same second. So we expect some great action when we get the race underway here today. And remember, many people think that what happens at Phoenix can help predict the Indy 500. Last year, Emerson Fittipaldi won here, almost won in Indy. Let's go back to pit road once again, and Jack.
Paul, talking about that, the fact that Firestone Tire and Rubber Company last appeared at Phoenix back in 1974 until this year. They're gearing towards the Indianapolis 500. This race so critical for their development because it's the first of 2 oval races before the May Classic. The test pilot all last year at Patrick Racing, well, it's the youngster Scott Pruitt. Thus far this year, a 4th, a 3rd. He's looking for 2nd or 1st today. It's so important in proving this package. Gary Gerould, another team trying to prove a package, is to the head of the grid for the first time.
And Jack, that's Team Penske. For the first time this year, they're in the front row. Emerson Fittipaldi right alongside Bryan Herta. Remember, he's the defending champion. His teammate, however, Al Unser Jr., had problems as he popped the valve in both qualifying laps yesterday. He is back in 17th, but only 0.6 of a second off the pace in this very tight field. That prompts the question for the 2 former drivers in our booth, Sam Posey and Bobby Unser. Just how important is qualifying position at this racetrack?
Well, Gary, other than the fact that you might have an accident right after the start, I really don't think qualifying here is going to be all that important. For example, I think that within 10 laps, you're going to see the back markers being passed by the faster guys. There is going to be passing all day long.
Well, it's lucky that passing is going to be easy because several of the main contenders have qualified poorly. Bobby Rahal, who leads the points chase coming into this race, is back in the 7th row. Robbie Gordon, who was fastest in winter practice and in practice this morning, is in the 5th row. And in the 4th row, way out of touch with the leaders when the race starts, is Raul Bosello. I think many people feel is overdue to win a race. Just how well these men can make their way through the field may very well be the story of the race today, Bobby.
How about this one, Sam? Average speed around this track, 181 plus miles an hour. Now, that's faster than I used to go down the straightaway when I raced here the last time. Straightaway speeds, over 200, 203 miles an hour we've seen. Now, at speeds like this, you're going to see more action than you can ever believe.
It's going to be incredible.
Phoenix, Arizona, a real bull ring. It's going to be a great day. We'll come back with the grid and the green flag right after this. Back live at the Phoenix 200, presented by Pyroil. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Remember, Johansson had an accident at the start of the day, but he'll go in his qualified position. On the pole here, it's Bryan Herta. His first ever pole comes in only his 8th career start, alongside Emerson Fittipaldi. Last year, this race produced Emerson's only win of the season. In row 2, Jacques Villeneuve, the winner of the season opener in Miami, and Paul Tracy. Both of this year's winners are in row 2. Tracy won in Australia. In row 3, it's Michael Andretti. His lone win at Phoenix came back in 1986. And Scott Pruitt, with 2 top 4 finishes this year, he now lies 3rd in the point standing. In the 4th row is Jimmy Vasser, teammate to the pole sitter. His best ever finish came here at Phoenix. In 1993, it was a 3rd place. And Raul Boesel. 2 of his 2nd place finishes have come on 1-mile ovals. In the 5th row is Robbie Gordon, still looking for his first race finish of the season. And Gilles de Ferran, the fastest qualifier of those making their first ever oval start. In row 6, Mauricio Gugelmin. A great start to the season, find him 2nd in the points behind the leader, Bobby Rahal. Alongside is Adrian Fernandez. The 3rd-year driver finished in the points in Miami. In row 7, it's Stefan Johansson and points leader Rahal. Row 8, Andre Ribeiro and Teo Fabi. The 9th row, Al Unser Jr. and Eddie Cheever. In row 10, it's Christian Fittipaldi and Arie Luyendyk back in an Indy car. The 11th row, Danny Sullivan and Dean Hall. In row 12, Alessio Salazar and Hiro Matsushita. In the 13th row, Roberto Guerrero, who still holds the race record here, and Eric Bachelard. And alone in the 14th row is Alessandro Zampedri. So that's the way they line up here at Phoenix, Arizona. They've already begun the parade laps here. And I'll tell you what, when this track turns them loose, it's spectacular. Let's take a look at the layout here. The race analysis, 200 laps, 200 miles, 1-mile oval. The race record here, incredibly fast, 138.05 miles an hour, held by Guerrero. Here's the way the track looks. Look at those straightaway speeds.
Yes, 203 down the straightaway, almost 200 in the back straightaway, including the dog leg. 2 turns, the first one, 162 miles an hour. Look at that, the other one, 180. That's almost wide open.
Breakdown on today's field, chassis, engines, and tires, all 3 becoming so very, very important. So now we should see them line up behind the PPG pace car, Johnny Rutherford at the wheel. And there is your pole sitter, Bryan Herta, inside the front row. You'll watch over his shoulder today. The start here, so very, very critical. They're bunched up, and as Bobby suggested, almost instantly is the front of the field on top of the back rows. It doesn't take very many laps. Emerson Fittipaldi alongside in the front row now slides into position as they move into turn 3. Tracy Villeneuve in the 2nd row. They're picking up the pace as they come off of the 4th turn. Pace car heads for the pit area. Herta leads him to the green, and here we go. Paul Tracy squeaks down to the inside. Tries to get underneath Fittipaldi, can't do it. Villeneuve now moving very high, almost gets up into the wall as they come off the corner.
Well, that was a close one right there, Paul. That was dangerously close.
Remember, this is Herta's 8th IndyCar race, only his 8th, and he's taken the lead off the pole.
This is the first lap that Herta has ever led in the IndyCars. Now Tracy makes his move on Fittipaldi. Tracy into 2nd. Here comes Michael on the inside of Fittipaldi. And Michael's alongside.
The whole idea with trying to be in front early like this is to run in clean air. There's a lot of wind disturbance from all the cars. It's like running in like a tornado back there right now.
So 2 laps complete. Fittipaldi has fallen 2 positions in those 2 laps. And now Jacques Villeneuve hides up behind him. Villeneuve's going to try to go to work on him.
This is the first time in this young season that Michael Andretti, who you see right there, leading that group, has not been in the lead in the first laps of the race.
Bryan Herta, surprisingly enough, pulling away just a bit. Back in the field, you're right now. This is a new view with Robbie Gordon.
It's like really over the engine compartment. Look forward there, and the first thing you'll see is what looks like two wings. Those really are our camera positions on that car. So you look at that little blue thing right up the middle. That's his head. That's the driver's head.
Gordon runs in 7th place. Scott Pruitt just ahead.
Yeah, we're already up to 7th. A terrific start for him. Exactly the kind of passing that we talked about.
Now that's the camera that's shaking like that, just so everybody knows. The body's not really shaking.
That's Scott Pruitt right ahead of him in the Firestone shod car.
He tries a move on Pruitt, tries to get down. This is a critical passing area in turn 1 and 2. But Pruitt comes sliding across the front.
Now he told Pruitt right there what he's going to do the next time. So Scotty's going to be waiting for him and try to probably block him just enough.
Pruitt came off that corner a little better. Let's see if Gordon closes here.
Gordon was the fastest in all of the testing during the winter. He was fastest again in the warm-up this morning, as I said. Many people feel that he has the speed. He qualified badly, but he is a man to watch in this race. And he desperately needs to win a race. He's highly touted, but has yet to win.
Now he closes in. Pruitt just ahead. That's Villeneuve just ahead of Pruitt.
They're turning laps just over 7 or 20 seconds per lap. Now he's trying to work through it on the outside.
Oh, boy.
And look at him. He's going through the...
And he gets it. Did you hear a little squeal of the Goodyears, though, as he went past, though?
That's where you really have to take a deep breath. There's Villeneuve now in front of him.
That's a hard place to pass. I mean, really a hard place to pass. It's the fastest turn speed that there is on the whole track.
And when you hear those tires chirping and talking to you, whoa.
On the outside, it's not only hard to pass, it's
Look at
dangerous.
this.
Boy, oh boy, Robbie Gordon.
He's just carving his way up through the field, now in 5th place.
He's working good up there. Robbie Gordon's really working good there, Paul, but I'll tell you, it's a dangerous place to pass.
He had a masterful race here last year, too. Would have finished 3rd probably, but ran out of fuel. This is a good place for Robbie Gordon.
So now Scott Pruitt begins to go to work on Jacques Villeneuve. This is a battle for 6th place. Pruitt, remember Firestone tires, new to the series once again. Last raced here at this track in 1974. And Pruitt has really been doing a great job for him this year. Moving up in position each race, finally comes up with a podium finish.
Villeneuve, of course, had a big wreck here last year. Whether that's on his mind right now or not, I doubt.
Scott Pruitt, the guy in the red and white car right there in the middle of your screen, did all the Firestone testing. That Firestone back in. He really knows the Firestone tires.
Bobby, look at the groove he's able to run compared to Jacques. He's really all over the track, high, low, anywhere he wants to go. Jacques seems to be committed to a more neutral groove.
And as you said, Bobby, they're already beginning to overcome some of the slower cars in the field. And now all of the leaders have to contend with traffic.
But you know, the nice thing about the Phoenix track, Paul and Sammy, is the fact that you do have more than one groove around it. It might be dangerous passing on the outside. It might be difficult. But it's there if a guy wants to take a chance on it.
You know, some of Robbie Gordon's crew, they were, as we ride with Gordon, as he closes now on Emerson Fittipaldi, they said they don't like us to refer to them as the slower cars, that we should be politically correct and refer to them as cars that are speed challenged.
Yeah, I guess that's right. They're not really going slower, they just look like it.
Right.
Well, this is a car that is not speed challenged. Robbie Gordon has the combination right now. Whether it'll last throughout the race, you see that he's closing on Emerson Fittipaldi, who qualified in the front row, but is now, as you see, running only 4th.
Both of the Newman Haas cars got around Fittipaldi in the early going. Is that something he wanted to allow? Is that part of a tactic for this race? We're already on lap 14.
Well, Emerson, of course, won the race here last year in a very smooth drive. He hasn't won any other race for that full year. It'll be more than a year since he's won if he doesn't win here today.
Another thing to remember, all the cars are full of fuel here. So they handle differently than they did during qualification. So there's a different personality that you see right now.
Gordon last year in this race learned a lesson, which is you don't have to be as impetuous as he had been up until that point to get a good finish. He was within reach, as I said,